Mechanical engineers are not just involved in the design process, they're involved in the maintenance, they are involved in the optimization. And so mechanical engineers are going to be needed in those fields, not just to make them, but also to maintain them. Now, that's just artificial intelligence. And
what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to give you my honest take on the future of mechanical engineering in the United States as a mechanical engineer with 10 years on the field. And not only that, but we're also going to be exploring a couple of other 2 questions from engineering students who are wondering about mathematics in the industry. Not only that, but also engineering study tips. So I wanted to thank everyone that participated in the Q&A that I held on Instagram a couple of days ago. So thank you. And if you would like to submit your questions on Instagram, make sure that you do that and follow me there. Let's jump right into it.
The first question is from Fabricio. Do you use all the math you see while in college? This is actually an amazing question, because a lot of the times what happens is that when we are in engineering school, I remember that I used to go through the same exact thing. I used to think, am I going to be ready for the real world, we call it? Am I going to be using all the math? Am I going to be able to remember everything? And the truth of the matter is that even though you go through all those struggles, even though you have all these questions in your mind, and even though you are barely going by or getting by calculus or all those hardcore math classes, the truth is that you will never use everything that you study in school. And that also includes the math that you learn in the school. Now, I'm not saying here that you will not use high-level math, because in my experience, and based on what I've heard also from other engineers, you do get to use some complicated math, but that is going to depend on which field you get into. If you get into design, if you get into research, and you need to use mathematical models and equations to prove certain behaviors of certain systems, certain patterns, then at that point you may be using crazy partial differential equations, diffq. I'm not kidding. I saw a long report that was about this thick. They were putting together a lot of mathematical proof and equations on how a certain system was going to behave. And so what I'm saying here is that you will use some math, but the field that you get into will determine how much math you actually use. All right, so this next question, Ultimate Webhead asks, study tips for engineering students. It's actually a great question as well, because a lot of the times we don't know some tips and tricks that some other students use, especially the very, very smart ones. And I used to study with hey, I'm going to tell you straight up, I'm telling you the truth. I wasn't the brightest guy out there, but I did hang out with a lot of smart people. And so I know what kind of study techniques and study strategies they used. And so I learned from them a lot, and I'm very grateful that I got to learn from them. And so I'm going to be sharing those with you. But not only that, but I'm also going to be sharing a couple of other study tips that I learned along the way and that I wish I knew when I was in engineering school. And so the first study tip that I'm going to be sharing with you here, my friend, is to study with your friends. That's a given. Don't try to make it all the way through on your own. I know that a lot of times we take a lot of pride in doing things on our own, but engineering school is the place where, number one, you want to work with the people that you have around you. And also you want to help others that are around you. It's not just about you taking. You also want to contribute. You want to help others that are coming behind, because in turn, that also helps you learn. So study with your friends. Don't do it alone. Get a group together. The second technique that I'm going to share with you when it comes to study tips, my friend, is using the Pomodoro technique. And this is something that I wish I would have known when I almost said I wish I would have knew, but I wish I would have known when I was in engineering school. And it's very simple. It's 25 minutes straight studying, and then a 5-minute break, and then you repeat. Sometimes when I'm feeling really well and I'm trying to just keep going with my study session, I do not limit myself to only 25 minutes. I go for maybe 30, 35, and then I take a break. So just make sure that your breaks aren't too long, because then you will be taking longer breaks than actually studying, and that will kind of defeat the purpose. The third study tip that I have for you here is using the zone out method. And by what I mean by that is you're going to grab your headphones, and then you're just going to listen to some chill music or whatever music helps you concentrate and focus. And then you're just going to get on the computer, you're going to zone out. And if you use this technique with the fourth one that I'm going to tell you, which is get out of the house, change out your clothes, because there's just something psychological. It's like you flipping a switch from being lazy and not wanting to study to actually getting out there, and you're basically subconsciously telling yourself, okay, now it's time to study. It really, really does make a lot of difference in your productivity, in my personal experience. Now, another thing that I'm going to share here with you is that go to a classroom. Use the whiteboard. make sure that you write out all your thoughts, all your equations, especially when you are with your friends and you're studying for a big test. It really, really, really helps you understand very, very difficult concepts. You are more likely to see any mistakes that you may be running into, that you may be making. It also helps you identify certain things that you didn't understand. Now you can actually understand them, order some pizza, talk things out, discuss things that you don't understand, also help others understand things that they don't get. And by the way, the last one that I want to share here before I actually leave this topic is doing the homework over and over. When you do the homework over and over, you are literally engraving the patterns, and it's also going to help you understand certain concepts a little better. Don't be afraid to use your online tools. Don't be afraid to ask questions, to reach out to professors, to teachers' assistants, and also don't be afraid to ask to online communities. All right, so next one here says future of mechanical engineering in the United States of America. That's actually a very great question as well, because you're thinking ahead. You're thinking, okay, hey, am I going to be jobless in the future? Honestly, I'm going to give you my non-scientific approach based on how I'm seeing things. And you can do your research in all these fields, and hey, you can get into the numbers, you can get into the data. You're smart, you're an engineer, you can get into all that on your own. Here, I'm going to give you my perspective. The way I see it, we have artificial intelligence. That field is growing and growing. Robotics, mechatronics, manufacturing, optimization of manufacturing, shipping. So from a mechanical engineering perspective, there's going to be a lot of growth in those fields as far as I see it, because mechanical engineers are not just involved in the design process, they're involved in the maintenance, they are involved in the optimization. And so mechanical engineers are going to be needed in those fields, not just to make them, but also to maintain them. Now, that's just artificial intelligence and manufacturing. Now, another one that is going to have a lot of, or that already has a lot of potential and that is growing, we have, let's see, let me show you here for a second. For example, we have this man over here, Elon Musk, investing heavily on commercial space flight. Look at this. For example, Elon Musk said SpaceX's first ever civilian crew had challenges with the toilet and promised an upgrade for the next flight. When you think about the challenges that there are right now in the commercial space flight and how much is going to grow, I want to say that there's going to be a growing investment and interest in this field. There's going to be more people that are going to want to get in on those investments. They're going to try to make it grow and make it more accessible to people. And other millionaires and other, who knows, maybe other billionaires other than Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Richard Branson, I believe that's his name. There are going to be more people that are interested. They're going to be heavy investment, and that means the field is going to keep growing and growing. So based on those two factors, I know they are not the only ones. We also have defense in the United States. That's also a field that is probably never going to go away. The United States government is always going to be interested in investing in defense and a lot of technology, air, naval, ground. So, and not only that, that's just from a technical perspective. And I've already mentioned in the past how mechanical engineers are very versatile. That's one of the, perhaps the most versatile field, engineering field. So you can go into business, finance, you can open your own company doing literally consulting, or you can do a lot of things with mechanical engineering. And I definitely think that the future is very bright for mechanical engineers. And not only that, but also for engineers in general.